Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Coffee is for Closers. It's me and Matt, the real guy whose name is on the sign. And today we're going to be talking about fitness sales. Going to sort of aggregate a bunch of YouTube questions and you're going to answer them.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Roll the intro.
Ex-Special Forces sniper turned entrepreneur. I've scaled numerous businesses to 8 figures. My name is Matt Ryder. This is my podcast, and I'm telling you to put that coffee down.
I'm going to aggregate a bunch of the questions that we get. Something that has been brought up quite a few times on this podcast and others, in the zeitgeist of the sales industry, is that a lot of the sort of really high performers, yourself, many of the guys that work for us here come from fitness.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, I guess, pretty obvious. It's a very high volume sales process.
Yeah.
Selling a product no one really wants. You making people give up things they like, and they
be in
really
physical pain.
Yeah, and the results are not anywhere near immediate. Their life, losing weight is not something that really people value that much. Once they've got it, for sure, but the process of getting it, so it's a hard thing to sell. So we're going to have a whole episode revolved around fitness sales.
Yeah.
If you were to start a gym today, what would that look like?
Well, we talked about this earlier. I would take out $100,000 cash, put it in a bin, set it on fire, and save myself the money. Okay. But if I was forced to, I would definitely do a...
So let's give some context to this before you do.
Yeah, I used to own gyms.
How many? It was like 18 or something that you got started, with other people?
Yeah, so basically I had my own, and then I started another one. So we had 2 in Sydney. And then from there, the business coach in which I was working with kind of asked me to come into the business and help grow them. He had 5 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, what we did is we grew it to 18.
Mm-hmm.
And my main role was besides acting as the guy, as what I considered to be the voice of reason in the boardroom, right?
Yep.
Although I was never listened to.
Yep.
Was just to start them. So it was to open them. So it was sales.
Okay.
And then from there, I'd run the first few challenges. So we would do a 28-day challenge model, which I think is probably the way to go to open a gym. Or at least I don't know of a better way. So you do a short-term challenge. So what we would do is I would get 500 leads. From that, I would have to convert 200 sales. Okay. Which is pretty difficult. 40% of all leads turning into sales.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd be lucky to get 15% of them on the phone, these days. And even back then, it wasn't that easy. The amount of volume you had to do to call just to get the people to answer was crazy. And then from there, what I would do is I'd run a challenge. I would get anywhere from 160 to 220 people into the first challenge. So basically, the gyms had a capacity of 250. So we were full day one. Okay. And then from there, at the 28-day, you try and retain half. But at week 2 of the next of that first 28-day challenge, you'd start advertising for the second one. You'd have 2 weeks of sales, and you'd try and sign up half. So you'd go from, say, 200 on the first challenge. 100 would drop off, but you would have signed 100 into the second one, right? And then halfway through, you do the third one, and your goal is to sell 50. Okay. And then your goal is to sell 25, and then 25, 25, 25, 25, basically forever.
To the same people?
No, to new people. So you'd re-sign half into a 16-week or 6-month contract. Yep. And then from there, you would lose half, ideally, and then you just sign new ones. So that was the idea, right? It was 200, 100, 50, 25, 25, 25, 25. So you'd sign up 25 new members a month, and you'd stay full. Yep. Essentially.
So with the that model of challenges to bring in a huge amount of people, where'd that come from?
I don't know. The guy who was running it was Travis Jones. So he was the marketing guy. Very, very innovative.
But you were doing that back in the SigFit days, right? Before you were doing it with those guys.
Yeah, but Travis taught me how to market. So he was that very first business coach that I ever signed up with, and I stayed with him for a long time. Right. But for example, I created some iterations of it that then got put into RBT. I created a a sports model project. Some of you might have heard of Hattie Boydle's sports model project. That was my idea. So I did the first round.
And you had the guy on the show,
Nick,
right?
Yeah. So I did the first, like, I was business coach. Fucking terrible, but I was business coach. Basically sales and marketing. I won't say business because I was terrible at business, but sales and marketing coaching.
Okay.
Nick and Flex, who were running the gym. And I was like, hey, you dating Hattie, right? It's like, yeah. And I was like, well, Hattie's kind of like an up-and-coming world, like soon-to-be world champion bikini model. I was like, why don't we just use her as the face? That seems like a good idea. And I was really good at Facebook ads back when it was Rogue, right? I wouldn't know what to do now in the realm of it, but I was very good at it. I got really high click-through rates, and I kind of figured out the analytics of like what you needed to change in order to get a better outcome, right? And then so I ran the ads for the very first, like probably the first 6 months of the sports model project, and then handed it over, and that's still going. And now we do the sales and the marketing today.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Come full circle.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
So let me just unpack that process a little bit, because you just go through that like boom, 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 boom. This is what we did, but let's sort of draw it out a little bit.
Yeah.
In that you have the gym already, and in some instances you did it to actually launch the gym. There was no gym to start with.
It wasn't even built yet. Like a lot of the time, like they go, "Can I come in and see it?" I was like, "Have you got a hard hat and steel-toed boots?"
Yeah, right.
If not, no, you can't.
Okay.
But I can send you a photo of it being built right now.
You can imagine what it's going to be there.
Yeah, yeah. But people don't care. People used to ask me questions like, well, what's the equipment like? I'd be like, well, what's your preferred brand?
Yeah.
And they'd go, oh, and I go, does it really matter?
Yeah.
Does it really? They're heavy.
Well, we saw that, right? With, what's his name's gym?
Yeah, Lift.
Yeah. That was premium equipment, everything.
Yeah. And he came to me at the beginning and I said, that seems like a bad idea to me. Not that. I mean,
I think it, like there's a certain personality type that wants to use fancier gear,
actually,
but
the difference is the mistake that you can't make as a gym owner is fitting out the gym that you want.
Okay.
You have to fit out the gym like for the model of training in which you want.
Okay.
And so like that's like the first iteration of SigFit, which is the gym that the first one. It was like an Olympic lifting studio.
Yeah.
Like it really was. It had had like 2 platforms and reverse hypers and fucking all this crazy shit that nobody could use.
Yeah.
And we had one of it.
Yeah.
It's like, and then you're trying to do group training classes. So really all you can do is like a circuit of these overly complicated exercises that no one's ever seen before or can do correctly.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, but by the end of it, I'd scrapped all that shit and I just had fucking cages everywhere.
Yeah.
Like nothing but cages.
Yeah.
And my business partner, when we first started, said women would be intimidated by cages. And I said, I don't think you're giving women enough credit. I was like, I don't think they're going to come in and see a black cage and be like, they're raping everyone.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, what do you think is going to happen here? So, but yeah, anyway, by the end of it, it was just cages. And that's how we got it to make money, because you have to sort of consider every square meter of space. And the real metric of what creates a successful gym is inflow outflow and how much money per square meter can you make off that gym floor.
Okay.
Like you don't want an office in there.
Yeah.
You don't need one, bro.
Yeah.
Right? Like you don't need one. Like if you can avoid having toilet facilities, like if you can get a place that has shared or common toilet facilities, and you can just have like the smallest change room area, or not even have that and say, hey, you come changed. Like that's the fucking way it is. Right. The more you can put that stuff in and maximize every single square inch of that place, you have a good chance of making some money.
And it seems to me like you guys kind of started out as a like, come here and train. It's a gym. Come and do your own thing, and then realize that's not the model, right? It's group classes. That's where the money is.
I actually think the money's in small group. I think the money's in 4-on-1.
4-on-1.
Yeah, because for 4-on-1 you can charge 1-on-1 prices.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point, right? Okay, so you can just quadruple your cash.
Yeah. So I think like the gyms that I've seen that have like made money are small. Like I'm talking small places that are like look nice, that feel high end. Doesn't mean you have to go and spend $50,000 on toilets and shit like that, but you just do it right. Get it professionally painted. You know what I mean? Have it look nice. Get all gear that matches, stuff like that. Not expensive, but all that matches. And then from there, like you can have kind of a premium feel to it. Get someone to design your logo, use like Luxy sort of colors, and get a really good name. And then from there, get a location that's cheap. And for fuck's sake, don't do it in Sydney.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Like do not do group training studios in Sydney.
How come?
The rent is too expensive.
Okay.
Right? Or go rural.
Okay.
right? Where there's just not much competition around. So the problem is if you try Sydney, like Virgin will destroy you because Virgin has group training every day, all day, and it has like satellite gyms around now.
Yeah.
You can just kind of go to as part of your membership.
Yeah.
You're going to be destroyed.
Have you seen the Fitness First at Mossman, what they've done there?
No.
So downstairs where there was an art gallery turned into a Pilates studio, and as they were still fitting out the Pilates studio, the Fitness First ripped out the creche and turned it into a Pilates studio.
Savage.
Just to crush them. Like, and it seemed to me like, because they were handing out flyers to people kind of where their studio is going to be, but as people leaving the Fitness First, right? Because you go down those escalators, there's no other way. And they were handing it out there.
All's fair in love and war, man.
And it seemed like the Fitness First were like, how dare you? And they just, more money, more capability, just put it together like super quick, filled their Pilates studio, and they were like, why? It's part of this membership.
It's free.
Don't start one down there.
It's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're already paying.
So I think that is one of the hard things, right? Is like those, like you're messing with the big boys because they're a huge,
they're owned by most of them are owned by Quadrant, which is like one of the biggest private equity firms in Australia.
Yeah,
in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah,
you're not going to compete with them.
No,
and it's not to say that you can't like run a really successful business like as it, because there are plenty of them.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't think Sydney's the place. Like, because even if you like just commercial real estate, like for example, like so we had like 7 gyms in Perth, and like the biggest, most expensive one was like 1/5 of the rent.
Okay.
And also like what that also equates to is cheaper labor.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guys in Sydney had a 65K base.
Mm-hmm.
Plus they had comms and stuff like that for making sales, right? The guys in Perth had a 45K base.
Okay. That's interesting. I thought Perth had higher wages there.
Well, the cost of living
stuff.
is, but like, I mean, maybe the average or the median is higher because you get these,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But the cost of living in Perth, I mean, I know people like I had a 4-bedroom house with a media room on a 900 square meter block that I completely renovated with a huge front and backyard that was fucking gorgeous. The living room was 180 square meters. I rented it out for $660.
That's crazy, right? That'd be $2,000 a week minimum.
Oh, like dude, fuck, the house I just moved out of was $3,500 a week.
Yeah,
you know, like crazy, and like I know a lady who was living in a 3x2 in a beautiful area for $300 a week.
Yeah,
so like it's just cheap.
Yeah,
it's a cheap place to live.
Okay.
Like
so,
the groceries are 18 cents more.
Yeah. Okay, so location, you know, your rent is your biggest overhead in a gym. So like location super important. But now I imagine most people listening and that are interested in fitness sales already have the gym. So they're doing what they're doing. You reckon that you reckon that the best model is still small group fitness?
Yeah, so what you want is I think you want like probably a boot camp element where everyone can come in on like, you know, where you have a couple sessions a week that are basically tied into your membership to give like the false perception of volume.
Okay.
You know, or not the real perception of volume, to be honest. So you have like that. And then from there, you have like your 4-on-1s. Because with 4-on-1s, you can keep people really accountable. Like the more people you have, the more admin you have.
Okay.
And that's when things start to blow out because you start needing people to service admin. So like you think about it, like you can easily charge $100 a session for a 4-on-1. So you're making $400 a session. You know, whereas in like an 8-on-1 scenario, you're flat out charging $20 a session.
Yeah.
You know, so like you're a higher end service. You're gonna deal with people who can afford and want the more one-on-one type stuff, but they're gonna get the volume through, and they're gonna get a bit of a community through a 4-on-1 feel. Yeah,
I was gonna say they're probably like, business aside, probably is a better service, the very small groups, right? Because people sort of self-motivate, or they motivate off each other. It develops a bit of
you have the same group. So what you do is you fill a timetable. Okay. You fill a time, and then you open up the next time. Then you open up the next time. Then you open up the next time.
Okay.
So it's not like that is their time, and they're locked into that, and they pay for that, whether they're there or not. So like if they don't come, or if they take 2 weeks on holiday, they have to pay 50% in order to maintain their spot, or I'm going to fucking fill it with somebody else. Then you got to start training at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, and people have no problem with that.
Yeah, right.
Those people have no problem. The people who pay you $50 a week for unlimited boot camp are fucking human garbage. Like I can't tell you how fucking shit those human beings are to deal with.
Okay.
Like, but the one-on-one clients and like the high-end group clients, never a drama.
Okay, so
Never.
you've made it fairly clear, sir,
Yeah.
that they're the clients you want to attract.
Yeah.
Let's talk marketing to those clients.
Yeah.
So you were killer at Facebook ads, and this is like 10 years ago.
I was
right?
a killer. Like I was known.
Yeah.
People used to hire me to do their ads for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I quit. It was so stressful. I stopped doing it.
Really?
I was like, this sucks.
How come?
It's just like I was one dude running gyms, doing my own sales, doing my own marketing, doing my own PT sessions and running a gym. And then like I was just like having to do other people's marketing. And if they were shit at sales, it's like, these leads are shit. Maybe you suck. I don't know. Same leads I got. I'm doing it right. You know what I mean? So, and it was just it's a lot of tinkering. Like I didn't realize like I was a media buyer. Like I was a full stack. I just thought that that's what you did, but I was doing everything. And it was kind of different, learning different markets. And the way that I did it and the way that I still do it today is I did lots of content. It took me a while to put two and two together. The content made a huge difference. So what I would do is I segmented into male and female, right? And so what I would do is if I was advertising to men, I would only do 30-day cycles. So everyone had a break. Nobody was getting marketed to all the time. And then I would do these like, if the gym was here, I would do like a circle here. So I would geographically target, and then I would rotate my geographic targeting.
Okay, like a flower petal moving around the outside of it.
So that like everyone got a bit of a break. And then there was always like a 30 to 60 day content lead up to them getting ads.
Okay.
Right? So I would do so I would do content ad, content ad, content ad. But I was doing that for all the concentric circles at once. Oh my God. Right? So
what sort of content?
So like if I was training guys, like I would always give a name to the month. Like it was like bigger, stronger arms.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or get 6-pack abs or something like that. So what I would do is I would do content specifically to that. And I would like sometimes do funny shit. Like I would like start doing sit-ups and go like, if I just keep going, I'll get more. If I just keep, and do stupid shit like that, and then kind of explain why this is never going to work. And that would get engagement because nobody was doing stuff like that. Or I would even do like blog posts, and I would promote blog posts, or we would do free downloadables. So we do lead magnets and like, hey, these are the top 5 guys, top 5 ways to get bigger, like a bigger peak on your bicep. And
so were you paying for that? Like,
yeah, it's cheap though. It's dirty cheap.
Yeah, because you weren't selling, so it was like, just reach marketing. Yeah, being in people's face, not selling them anything.
Yeah, but I would warm them up to my face. And the gym name, and then I would advertise to them.
And so when people's experience of you is they look in their phone and they see there's that guy who was doing a bunch of curls and being funny, and they see that a couple of times, and then 3 weeks later that guy's pitching them something to sell. Yeah.
And it's usually some sort of low end, hey, learn how to do this or something like that, right? So, and then we'd call them and sell them. So like I was trying to do some trust building and content, and no one else is willing to do it. Same as now. They just weren't willing to. It's like, it's too hard. Okay. So
I think that is what's interesting, right? Is like doing content is hard. It is a pain in the ass. And I think
it's not hard.
No.
Yeah.
But I think
it's time consuming.
One of the things that's interesting from my point of view, and not just in the fitness space, in everything, and even in my own sort of industry in dogs, is that there's a fine line between getting out content quickly enough and the quality of it. Like, and as people are starting to get better at making content, and maybe it's just what I get targeted with. Maybe it's just the information that like gets sent to me because I am interested in the higher quality stuff. But you can kind of back yourself into a corner. And I've seen quite a few people, and like I've kind of done it myself a few times as well, where you make...
Don't say.
No, exactly, right? Like the quality gets so good that now it's like the lead times and it's harder to keep up with it. And then it's just the idea of just cracking out your iPhone and just filming something real quick.
Did you see the Peter McKinnon, Chris Ramsey video?
Nah.
So Chris Ramsey, I don't know if you know who he is. Nah. Makes phenomenal videos on magic and puzzles. Okay. He's a great magician. But he also does like puzzles, right? Okay. A huge YouTube channel, monster of a thing. And he's friends with Peter McKinnon because they're all fucking friends, right?
Yeah.
And his shorts go off. Like I'm talking tens of millions of views in these shorts, right? He has these like interesting products, and he does it with his iPhone.
Yeah, right.
No script. He goes, "Hey guys, this is a cool product. oh, we do this, and he goes, all right, follow and share. Like that. That's it, done.
Yeah.
10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Or a minute it takes him. There's no editing, nothing.
Yeah.
And Peter McKinnon was like, I hate you. He was
but see, that's exactly it. So like he could do that.
But his main content is some of the most highly produced, incredible B-roll. Like he does the puzzles and he creates like a story around it and does these really elaborate things. But his shorts are just like,
Yeah, he still gets away with that.
yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like what stops people doing that is their own emotional barrier to that. It's not, and that's what stops Peter McKinnon doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's what
just tweaks out.
And not that I'm Peter McKinnon, but that's like what I've found is that
I've heard you say you're Peter McKinnon.
I mean, I've got his bag.
Yeah,
I paid $800 for it. It's embarrassing.
Paid $1,600 for the signed version.
Yeah.
I would.
I mean, why not? But so I think that you can sort of back yourself into a corner a little bit with content and forget that like it's a volume game, not just a quality game. And like I think that sometimes you're better off, like depends on whether what you're going for, like, you know, big reach or highly targeted. Do you go for like, you know, this take me 4 days to make versus here's me selfie style on the iPhone. But I think in gym fitness, like that's probably the way to go, right?
For
like
sure.
Volume
Quick and
is
dirty.
more important than that super high production quality.
Oh yeah, you just don't need to do it. Also, like the way that I would do it now is I would start a local area fitness group.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wouldn't be branded my gym. It wouldn't be branded me, nothing. It'd be like Eastern Suburbs Mums Fitness Support Group.
Okay.
Right? Because like what you want is you want to be able to monetize the whole day, which is the real trick, because most gyms are empty 90% of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You got 2 hour, like an hour and a half of chaos, maybe an hour in the middle, and then an hour and a half of chaos at night. And you've got all this time in the middle because it's open for like 12 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like getting the mums groups in and like even taking a dive on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like sell it dirty cheap. Instead of $100 a session, sell it for 25.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, but like, and then build it up, and then you can start to increase your prices as you go. But I would start like local area fitness support groups, and all you do is give information.
Okay,
and that's it. You don't pitch a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just try and build that, and I would run really cheap ads to it and try and get more joins and more joins and more joins, and then that's how I would like create awareness of it. And then from there, I would just DM set my own sales.
Okay.
So, you know, people reach out for help and have clients do testimonials, but like really subtly, like there'd be a way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And Travis Jones did that he had a Facebook group way back in the day before Facebook
was a thing.
Before it was a thing. And that's when they were capped at 5,000 people. It used to be capped, right? And he had 2 groups with 5,000 each.
Mm-hmm.
So he had one group at 5,000, and it was getting so full. And he goes, "Hey, I'm going to do a more in-depth group, where I'm going to do more content. If you want to be in it, it's $5 a month."
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up with 5,000 people on that.
Wow.
And I was like, "Well played, well played." So he had that going for ages. That was like his first online training. It was like, so he's kind of like he's a very he's an interesting human, but very. Like he's one of the few people that I would put against me if you had to make $100,000 like a day.
Okay.
Like that, he'd be like, "Oh, he can go. I figure this out."
You've said that a couple of times on the podcast, and it always gets comments of like, "I want to know how you do that." Right?
It's different for every situation.
Exactly. That's why I've never sort of brought it to you as a topic, because I think that it would depend on the day and who you were involved with at the time. So let me stick with fitness sales. So you've got your gym. It's about to open, or it has opened, whatever.
Yeah.
You are running ads, not
definitely don't do a 14-day free trial.
No, how come?
Don't do free trials. Nobody ever converts.
Really?
Yeah, it's just the people who are going to do free trials of shit.
Okay.
You got to make them pay.
Okay. So
Even
they're paying from the jump.
Even if it's $1.
Okay.
Like that. Like my recommendation, I think 28-day challenges work very well, but you just got to switch it up. 28 days, 21 day, 6 week.
How come?
Because like you just say with normal marketing principles, people get bored of the same message.
Okay.
You know, and definitely like I would stay away from bait and switches. A lot of people run like free challenges, but you get the money back at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you do X, Y, Z, W, Q, and you know, sort of sell your soul back to them type thing.
Okay.
I don't like that. I think it creates bad trust. It's also really difficult for like the salespeople to do that for a long time with conviction because it's a bait and switch.
Okay.
There's a model in Sydney and in Melbourne. I don't know if they're still going, but that's what they do. And like they do like it invokes dangerous dieting practices because if you lose 7 kilo, then you get the money back.
Yeah.
And these fucking people are just like, I'll starve myself to death for that $400.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I will
calm
cause
down.
permanent, irreparable damage to myself.
Yeah.
No bait and switch. But with those challenges, you used to have a prize, right? Like it's a competition, the challenge.
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways to do it. One of the ways that I wanted to do it, but I could never actually convince anyone to do it with me, was get 10 small group training gyms together who are not affiliated, but kind of run it all together. Because you can get what's called prize insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So where you can win the chance to win, right? You don't win. So like I wanted to do a Bentley full of money, right? And it was win the chance to win a Bentley full of money. And basically the harder the odds were, the cheaper the insurance. So that you go like, hey, I'm going to do a 4,000 to 1 odds, right? So you might have like a big spinner with 4,000 little segments or whatever, like say something, right? Or there's 10,000 ping pong balls and you pick up one and one of them has fucking Bentley full of cash in it, right?
Yeah.
But there is a Bentley full of cash. It exists. It is right there.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of other prizes, but like I'm not up for that bill.
Yeah.
Like they're hedging. I'm going to pay them $7,000 for the insurance. And then if that person wins, hey brother, they win. Like I'm only out $7,000. They're out a Bentley full of money.
I think that happened not too long ago on Today FM, when Kyle and Jackie O had a chance to win. So it was a competition that led to the opportunity to win $1 million, and it was picking a thing, and it was like ridiculous odds, and the person won.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm sure it happens all the time
God
that people
damn
don't win.
Yeah, because you can change the odds. You can do a 1 and 2,
Yeah.
but it'll cost you like literally all of it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can just change the odds. So I wanted to do that. But yeah, so let's just say you're in the gym. So I like basically I would do phone sales.
Okay.
I wouldn't do the big difference. The thing that I did is everybody else did in gym sales. Even Marco did in gym sales.
Okay, hang on. Let's go back a sec because you're going to sales and we haven't finished marketing. Okay. So you're marketing to people that you're going to do these challenges.
Yeah.
Facebook
and IG is like the only way.
And so you're telling them it's a challenge. You tell them the price up front in that?
No.
So there is a challenge going on at a gym.
You never want to give price unless you're on a sales call. You never want to give price in marketing. It's a bad idea.
Okay. So, but the duration of the challenge?
Yep. So 28 days, common, like there's usually an outcome focus, right?
Okay.
So like we would do, back in the day, you could go rogue. You could be like fucking toned ass challenge, and you could do all kinds of rogue shit.
Yeah.
Right. Have Steph Packer, the fitness model.
I mean, she was your go-to, right?
She was my go-to, bro. Yeah. Steph Packer, Google. So yeah, because she had like that kind of feminine sports model body.
Yeah.
You know? Not like a sports model hardcore, but she was real feminine. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'd do stuff like that, and like and then I think if you can pair up with someone too who has kind of a level of influence, like pair up with a guy who has a big Instagram following. Like if you're in Sydney, contact Ben Abstacker, right? He's PT.
Yep.
Fucking, giant human being. Contact him, be like, hey, can I run a challenge? You do the programming, I'll give you 20%. Right? You come in, run 1 session a week, fucking show everyone how giant your arms are. Do it that way. Like try and involve other people, make it interesting.
Okay.
Is what you want to do, and then have an outcome.
And so from that marketing funnel,
yeah,
how much information are you trying to get off people? Just a name and phone number?
Email.
Name, phone number, email.
Yeah, then they go onto your email list. They start getting your promo stuff probably 3 times a week is probably what you want to be sending.
Okay.
As long as it's good quality information, because you want to be doing blogs. And then they should go onto your content retargeting list, right? So you should be running content all the time, and then those people go onto there as well as everyone who opts in. So whether it's the tag or however you decide to do it. Right?
Okay, so you've got that information. Now we're going into the sales process.
Yeah, now call them.
Okay. So how come you think call them, not get them in? Marco used to get them into the gym?
The drop-off rate, so for me, right, let's just say I had 20 conversations where people were like, yep, sweet, I'll come in. 10 of them would show up.
Okay.
And then from the 10, I sell 7. So I'm 7 out of 20. I definitely get more than that just calling and selling over the phone.
Okay.
I get 10 out of 20. So like for me, or even 13, like it made no sense to me.
Yeah.
Because I was adding a friction point that I just didn't think would needed to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I can just fucking sell these people over the phone. And I was one of the only people doing that. And people were like, that can't be done. And I was like, but it is being done. It's being done right now. I do it every day. I've been doing it for years. Like, this is just, it just made no sense to me. So what I started to do, I started to get them in, and I was like, fuck, these people keep no-showing. They're like 30-minute blocks.
Yeah.
And I'm in the gym like this, and it's like, what am I going to do in 30 minutes? I got to give them 10 minutes grace period. I can't start banging the phones again.
Yeah.
You know, and then sometimes you have 3 no-shows. Like, what are you going to do? It's such a fucking waste of time. So and then I started doing like credit card $20 and you get it refunded if you come in. That people were so much more against that than they were just buying.
Really?
Oh yeah, fucking hated it.
Really?
It stinks of a scam.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It just stinks of it. You know what I mean? So it's just a weird thing that people aren't used to. Whereas buying something, they're used to. Where it's like I don't know. It was weird.
I feel like now, post-COVID, people are much more used to doing all the admin for just about everything without being in person.
Yeah.
Right?
People used to be weird about giving credit card over the phone.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, but it's a credit card.
Yeah.
I'd be like, it's like the safest number you can give over the phone.
Yeah.
You know? Like
I think, for the most part, that resistance is gone, I reckon.
yeah, it never used to be too much of a problem. Like, it was a minority of people. It's something that sticks in your head, so you think it's worse than what it is.
Yeah.
That tends to be a sales thing, though. But
Yeah.
so I'd just get them in, call them, I'd sell them. Usually a sales call would last, I don't know, 12, 18 minutes.
Okay. So let's talk about qualifying a lead. You're really looking to probably disqualify, not qualify, because everybody's qualified.
I just sell everyone.
And then what would it be, like a peculiar injury or illness or something like that?
Yeah,
like if you were worried,
if
as
someone's
a
got
PT,
an eating disorder, I don't do it.
okay,
Like if they told me they had an eating disorder, I'd say, I can't,
challenges not for you.
I can't do a challenge with you. I think that would be of a tremendous detriment to your mental health.
Okay.
So I would potentially get them into a consult and then have a look at like one-on-one and then be like, group training, or if they have some sort of serious injury, like if they let me know that straight away. But also the way that I would do group onboarding, so I would send them documentation to fill out and do a group onboarding, and any red flags, we'd pull them aside and say, hey, listen, like I'm happy to refund, but I think this isn't going to be to your help. And then I would sell them one-on-one, and they almost always bought it because I was like, hey man, this is a red flag for me. I think if we did 12 weeks of one-on-one, I could fix XYZ issues enough to where you can go into group training. Would that be cool? And they're like, yeah. And then they never stop doing one-on-one.
Okay, yeah.
Because once you start doing one-on-one, as you know, you really don't stop.
Yeah.
It just becomes part of your rhythm.
Yeah.
Like I see my trainer 3 to 4 times a week. It's just part of my
It's
rhythm
just part
now.
of life.
Like I don't notice the money go out because it's just it's a fully budgeted. It's just part of life.
Yeah.
So that's why retention is so good in one-on-one, because you have so much like contact with the person.
And I think that speaks to like when people do need to go on a break, that you keep charging them something, right? So that it keeps flowing. Like you don't want to put an end to it, because then it's hard to restart. It's like pushing a car.
Yeah.
Like only the initial take up is so much harder. If you can just keep it moving to get it going fasting again, it's super easy.
What I did for all my one-on-one clients, if they went away for 2 weeks, they would do more before and more after.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
That's basically what I did for everybody.
Yeah.
And then I actually when I wanted to go away, I had a trainer that I would do a contra deal with. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to have a 2-week holiday. I pay you nothing to do all my sessions, and you eat a big fat dick for 2 weeks. You work 90 hours a week for no money. But I'll do the same for you.
Yeah.
And then it's like fucking sweet, man. That way you can go on holiday as a trainer. You can still get paid. Like your regimented weekly pay, And that's the way to do it.
Interesting.
And then like charging people more frequently. Like I was never a fan of like 20 packs or 30 packs because like then you've got to do all this reselling. Whereas if it's just a weekly debit's really good.
Yeah.
Stay away from monthly, do weekly, just bang, 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 bang. Just, you want to be part of life.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a surprise, just part of life.
I think one thing I'll add, and I know this is probably bad business, but good mental health and therefore staying longer in the business, is like I've always avoided selling big packs, not just because of the big money outlay.
What if they're a fuck bag?
Yeah, what if I want to fucking get rid of them and
You
they've
gotta refund
bought
them.
20 sessions and you're like, I got to put up with you for 20 hours?
Yeah.
Like I
that's a
can't
real
do
thing.
that. So I want to be like, I never sell more than a few steps ahead, and until like, oh, we're good, and then you can go recurring.
Yeah.
And that's probably bad business, but holy shit, it's better for you.
Yeah. I know a guy who sold 100 packs. Savagery, bro.
No way.
Savagery.
No.
But like, if you're really good at budgeting, I suppose you could do that. But like, he wasn't.
Terrible.
He loved it. He loved the Colombian whites.
So this is my next section I want to talk to you about is you obviously were very good at that then. What would you change now that you're infinitely better at sales, really, and have a much different skill set to what you had then? Because then you were just grinding. Like, you were probably, in the early phases, you were probably good because of the fucking...
That's terrible. I got some of the calls recorded.
That's what I mean. But, like, you were successful because of how hard you worked at it.
Yeah, it was just volume.
Yeah.
You know, we used to just dial 8-9 hours a day, nonstop. I'd dial on Saturdays, Sundays. Like, Marco would dial people at 10 p.m.
Yeah,
because like, if he can't get a hold of him, he'd have a list that he'd dial people from 9 to 10.
Yeah.
And be like, he's like, what is this? I'd be like, well, I've been calling you all day. When should I call you? Like, you asked us to call you, champ.
So just hard work.
So it was just really hard work. I don't think me and Marco were particularly talented, like particularly good at sales. Like, we were probably the highest performing sales reps that weren't fucking bullshitting their numbers, because there's one guy who I know for a fact was.
Okay.
He got in a little bit of trouble.
Fair enough.
That's fair enough.
So what would you change now? What would be different?
One, the tech would be a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
So like, auto dialers would have literally halved. Probably, I could have made the same sales in 1/3 the time.
What is that tech wise? Like, instead of going 04,
dude. You know how long that takes?
Yeah.
And then I used to work it out. It was like a minute per number.
Okay.
You can, on an auto dialer, you can do 4 a minute.
Okay.
You could actually crank it up to 6 a minute if you want to.
Okay.
So you can have like 10-second dial periods. So auto hang up, next one. Auto hang up, next one.
And so you're
game changer.
You're just sitting there, headset on.
Yeah,
eventually,
bro.
someone answers, their name's on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like, just from like, literally, that would have doubled my sales,
Okay.
because I could have made 5 times the calls.
Was that not available, or you just didn't know about it?
I didn't know about it. Obviously, it was available. I mean, call centers have been a thing for a while.
Yeah, but like at an individual level,
yeah,
like
it
that.
certainly was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because when I left RBT and I started my own, I was like, there's got to be a better way. And in like 18 seconds of Googling, I found a Chrome extension called Crazy Call.
Yeah.
And it was not great, but I could get a phone number in any country, mobile, landline, in 10 seconds for like 10 cents.
Yeah.
And then I had an auto dialer facility, and I was just like, brr, 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 done.
Yeah.
And I like, that's how I was able to do the sales for like 5 gyms at once, because I had an auto dialer.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a shitty one, but it was way better than just dum 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 dum.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you can't underestimate those minor optimizations. You know what I mean? Like, I remember seeing it.
Aggravated me, man, how fucking stupid they were. And they had Salesforce.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, man, you know, Salesforce has a goddamn plugin for it, you fucking idiots. I think about the amount of stupid shit that they just didn't problem solve, you know?
Yeah.
So I was so busy doing it.
Yeah.
Like, that was their job.
Yeah.
And just no one thought of it. Like, we didn't even use Google Sheets, bro. We used Excel.
Okay.
I would get emailed an Excel sheet twice a day.
Yeah. So it didn't update live.
No,
nothing.
it was like, mate, Zapier has been around for a fucking long time, and there was an automation that you could just put straight in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I found that out like literally 2 months after I left, again when I had my own shit, and I was like, surely there's a better way.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this.
Well, I think
Done.
that speaks to that you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And there has to be a pressure that prompts you to explore and to look. Like, that's how learning works.
I remember saying there has to be a better way, and they're like, no. This fucking idiot Joe is his name, and he used to email those spreadsheets. So I was like, bro, surely your job at headquarters is not to email me a spreadsheet.
Evidently, it was.
He's like the tech guy. I was like, surely there is a better way than this.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, bro.
There's no way.
It's like, they didn't even give us a fucking Excel like license.
You had to buy your own.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
So
it all worked out. I'm rich.
So sales process, it's all a stepping stone. Sales process, right?
Yeah.
Like the actual selling. Any PQ as selling fitness.
Oh,
what
dude,
would you do?
Well, I've taught a few guys how to do it, and like I've taught a few gyms, and their numbers skyrocket.
Okay.
Skyrocket, because NEPQ was born from the like from door knocking, first and foremost, which is a very like abrasive, you know what I mean? Very high resistance. So if you're not super, like it's a very difficult form of sale. And then it went straight into more of like an MLM. Right, so that's kind of where it was formed. So with those two, and then it obviously got progressed from there. But like the core of it is door knocking and MLM, and so those are two very like MLM is highly emotional selling because it's biz op, right?
Yeah.
So you're selling the dream. You buy a magic water filter, and all of a sudden all your dreams will come true, right? And then the door knocking is high sales resistance, so you have to be able to kind of diffuse things straight away from a highly skeptical prospect, which is what fitness prospects are. They're highly skeptical.
Okay.
Because they've tried it 10 times and failed.
Okay.
So you're not fighting against them not thinking. Like it's a different situation. Like in a lot of industries, it's like, oh, there's a lot of scams out there. That's not what you're fighting in fitness. You're fighting, they know it'll work.
They just haven't put in the work.
They are just like, am I actually going to do it?
Yeah, okay.
Like, I don't know about you. I mean, I do know about you. But how many times have you like gone to start a diet and then just kind of fizzled?
Yeah.
It's like a lot, right?
Every Monday.
Yeah, every Monday. Every Monday. It's going to start today. I had a bacon and egg roll for breakfast. This is not happening. Next Monday, though. Yeah. You could
fucking, it was raining this morning, too.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can imagine.
You can't do that in the rain.
That's a bad headspace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So you're fighting against their own trust in themselves. So very emotional. And so with any PQ, like I reckon I could probably sell most people in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
7 to 10 would be, I think, a good, and you'd want to get it down to 15 max.
Okay.
That's kind of where I think a fitness sale needs to be, unless it's like a $5,000-$6,000 fitness sale.
Sure, like a bigger package thing.
But like your 97, 197, 597, whatever. Like actually, we just signed up a guy who owns 3 or 4 gyms in Perth, where we're consulting and redoing all of his sales processes. Actually, I did his sales. So this is the funny thing. Really nice guy. His name's Cholser. Hi, Cholser. I think you probably listen. He just paid us a big consulting package to come in and redo the sales team, the training, the scripting, everything to be able to sell over the phone, because I was the only guy who could sell over the phone.
Yeah, right.
Everyone else had people go in. I sold his package over the phone. And I sold for his 3 gyms, and I sold about 50 to 60 a month over the phone per gym. And then he started pimping me out to other gyms, taking a cut. I was like,
good for him.
Hey, bro, good for you. As long as I get paid, I don't give a fuck. So he kind of came to us a little while ago and we're redoing all that. But with any PQ, like you can get people you can cut to the core of people much faster and have that empathy and have that really, really nice emotional connection that you need with someone in order to kind of get the trust to like move forward. Like I was on, we just did a big challenge. And so after that, I decided to open up a Zoom room for people. This is after the encore day. So we've already pitched, we've pitched again. And now it's like, okay, now come on, guys. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be on Zoom. Here's the link. And I had like, I don't know, we had like 30 people on there. And then we had a couple of sales guys and I just made breakout rooms, right? And I was just selling people in like 5-minute lots. I had a guy crying, whole box and dice. But
individually, you're selling them in front of each other?
Yeah, but I mean, the way that I do it, you sell everybody at once while you're selling one person.
Yeah, of course.
I'll start asking the guy questions and then I'll time out and then I'll like pretend the person isn't there and doesn't exist. And then I'll explain what I'm doing to the person and then go back to, and then it's a whole thing.
And I think that's a little bit unique because you're selling sales to salespeople in that moment. So it's a bit of like being in a mirror room, right? Like,
it's so much fun.
So
you can make it so awkward.
Yeah.
People leave the Zoom, you just stare at them. Especially when you get a calculator and be like, so you're missing out on this much money?
Yeah.
I go, yeah. And I go,
long pause.
One chick just goes. Just left the chat. And then I named her, right? I don't remember what her name was. It's Debbie or some shit. Debbie. And then every single decision point.
Don't be a Debbie.
Don't be a Debbie.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got people, you couldn't do that fitness though, right? Could you do that group sort of?
Oh yeah, dude. I loved it. So what I used to do is, so I would sell everybody over the phone who I could sell. And then I would do like group onboardings, right? So just don't do one-on-one onboarding. What a waste of time. Just get 30 people in a room at a time and onboard them, show them, like the day before the challenge starts, just get everybody there in like lots of 30, hand out the books, get them to do their things. Yeah, you guys go over, do your body fats, whatever, starting measurements, while you're kind of explaining how it works. But then I'll have a day for all the people who didn't want to pay over the phone.
Okay.
Because like, fuck, I'm not giving you a consult because 50% of you are going to no-show. So I'd rather book 40 of you and I know 20 of you are going to show up, right? So I had a group sales call like that. And I would take them through a booklet where I would take them through, I didn't know at the time, but I was taking them through problem awareness, solution awareness, consequence questions, right? And I'd make them write everything down at the time. And I would have pre-filled out all the debit forms with their name, phone numbers, emails, everything, right? The price, all that kind of shit, right? For everyone who was going to show up. And so I would sit there and then I would have everyone there and I go, okay, so like, why do you want to do this? What do you want to lose? Why do you want to do it? And I'd kind of just spot people as to why it's important because I'm making them write down like why they really want to do this and kind of pulling stuff out of them. And then from there, I was like, so scale of 1 to 10, and I want everyone to write this down and hold it up. 1 being not willing, like not committed, 10 being the most committed you've ever been. Like, who is committed to achieving this goal? And then everyone who was like a 7, I'd be like pointing why are you a 7? Why are you not a 10 or why are you not a 3 or whatever? And I'd kind of bump everyone's numbers up to a 9 or 10. And then I'd say, okay, guys, so to achieve your goal, it's $97 or $197 for the next 28 days. If you don't want to achieve your goal, leave right now.
Yeah, okay.
And I just...
Did you get many people like...
I was pretty rare.
That is a ballsy person who in that moment goes like, oh, adios, and gets up and leaves.
Yeah, but sometimes it was actually a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're out. Like, they are for sure not your person if they're doing that. Yeah.
So I would say, okay, is everyone committed to doing the things required? No, it probably wasn't as eloquent as that, but be like, okay, cool. So from here, you guys have to pay. You have to feel the pain. You have to go forward, move forward, because this is important to you. Here are all the debit forms. Put in your credit card details and sign.
What would be your success usually on that? Like I guess you've kind of pinned people a little bit then, right? So it'd be quite hard. Like, did you get many sort of like refunds from that? Because people are like, oh, you have my details, but I'm immediately going to cancel this.
Yeah, there's wrong credit card details. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shut up. But I mean, fuck, I got most of them.
just numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4.
What do I give a shit?
Here you are, sir.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
Nod at you.
Yeah.
Thank you for not embarrassing me too much. I'll leave now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I got so good though in sales, like I could tell when credit card numbers were fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the first, like for example, if it's 3760, it's an Amex.
Yeah.
Right. Starts with a 4, it's going to be a Visa. Starts with a 5, it's going to be a MasterCard.
Yeah.
Like so, you start to tell like the first 4 digits.
Yeah, there's a pattern to it. Yeah.
Like if they're just making digits up. Yeah. That's not a credit card. I was like, are you using Diners? Are you really using Diners? You start with a 7. Show me your Diners Club right now. No one has a Diners Club.
Except everyone in the army.
Yeah.
How ridiculous was that?
Yeah. In the U.S., Diners is used.
Really?
Yeah, it is. We had someone pay for the challenge in Diners. I was shocked.
Yeah.
Diners Club. Guy messaged me too, Diners Club. I was like, I mean, yeah, but like, I don't want to.
Were you part of the bailout? Is that how you ended up with that?
What's happening? So I would do that with group because it's all about like it's just about like volume, right? So you just want to try and figure out the best way to get as many people in front of you as humanly possible.
Okay.
So sell them over the phone, then group on board, then have like your group sales pitch. You might have 2 of them. And then from there, get everybody in good to go and then start away. And then I would have like pretty high touch point challenges, like really high touch point to try and get them ingratiated. And you want to try and have at least one social event during the challenge.
Okay.
Because like what people think gyms are and what they actually are different. Gyms are ways for people to have fun as an adult.
Okay.
Like, so gyms are like a group training facility is adult entertainment. That's what it should be. It should be fun first. Okay. Is how I would recommend.
Think of it as a playground sort of thing.
Yeah, it is. And it's a place for people to meet people. Not like boyfriends and girlfriends, although that will definitely happen, but friends with similar interests outside of work. And it's quite difficult for people to do that. And so you if you do it right and you think about and you focus on community and fun, your training is almost irrelevant.
Okay.
It doesn't matter whether you're doing like the reason why CrossFit went so well and why F45 works so well is because it gives them an identity. I am a CrossFitter. I do F45.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you can somehow tie all that in together with a community and methodology or whatever, like what we did at SigFit, which I thought was particularly good, was strength clubs. So we had T-shirts like the 150 club,
I remember,
250 club, right? And it was squat, bench, and deadlift combined. And like those chicks would wear those shirts with pride, man.
Yeah.
You know, and we had their names all up there, and we'd do free strength testing once every 12 weeks. And you know, that was a great opportunity to upsell one-on-one because you'd be like, hey, there's a few tweaks here and there. If you want, we can do like 6 or 7 one-on-one sessions. I can fix that up. By your next testing session, you'll fucking knock it out of the park. You know, and they're like, oh, yeah, sick. Like all these little things. And then you have like, you know, your big achievements and stuff like that because I think like people just think it's a place to go get results. People don't give a fuck about results. Like I train people one-on-one for ages, and there are some people that got crazy results, some people that got no results, and it had no bearing on retention.
Yeah, right.
None whatsoever. And even in the 28-day challenges, after running so many of them, we realized the results that people got had no bearing on the outcome.
Wow.
None whatsoever. So we stopped being results focused and started being community focused.
Yeah, yeah.
And it really helped. Like we had, you know, like just really trying to indoctrinate people and having like a social group. So don't let them book random times. Make them book a time because then they become
a clique.
Like they become a clique, yeah. And so you want like that 6:30 p.m. crew to be proud to be the 6:30 p.m. crew. And then you can start getting them off each other. You know, it's like, oh, dude, 6:30 p.m., they fucking crushed it, guys.
Yeah,
like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And 7:15 crew comes in and be like, fuck those guys. We're going to go and do the thing.
We're the ones. We're the ones.
We're the kill, you know? So all that stuff, like that's the stuff that I would do differently. And I would really focus on that. And that's why CrossFit has... Like, despite breaking everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, fuck, man, they break people, right? But people are like, I can't wait to get back in the gym. Like that, and they're fucking crawling out, you know? Like, I would love to do CrossFit. I love it. It is so much fun. It breaks me every time. I've, too many times now have I gone to a CrossFit gym 6 weeks later fucking like that because I get competitive and I start doing stupid shit.
Well, what I've learned on that, because I know so many people that are mad CrossFitters, but it's people who, like, the people who get badly hurt in CrossFit are people like you and I who will still use the big weights. Because the people who like just flap
fucking
around.
Men?
No, but the people who just flap around and have a good time and do dumb shit and no checking of any form, so long as you're using minuscule weights and do it, it doesn't matter. You'll be fine. Yeah. Right? It's dickheads like you and me that are like, no, I get the big kettlebell.
Yeah.
Right? And you watch how badly I can hyperextend my
I'll injure myself through it. What's the worst injury you've seen?
Yeah.
Do me a favor, I'll double it.
Or even when you know, like my favorite was there's a Pavel Tsatsouline video, you know, like the Russian sort of who brought kettlebells into the West. And there's a him reacting to a CrossFit workout that's Turkish get-ups for time. And it's like as many as you can in 10 minutes.
It's not for time.
He's like, it's 10. Like, he's like,
do 10 of them.
It's a 1 minute exercise. It takes 1 minute to do. So if it's as many as you can in 10 minutes, you can do 10.
That's so funny.
It's like, and if you can't do 10, you should lower the weight. And if you can do more than 10, you should increase the weight. You should be able to do 10.
Yeah,
It's like, oh.
He's an interesting cat.
He's the best. I love him.
Yeah,
he's super interesting.
Yeah.
My final thing I wanted to ask you about this was using NEPQ to sell fitness now. Do you reckon, like, of course you'd sell more people, but do you think they would be more successful?
Yeah, for sure. I used to just box people in.
Yeah. So I think that you, like, your old style of selling, and what was still, I think, pretty common in the fitness industry is just you're fat and you have to do something about it and fuck you.
And to be honest, if you're just starting out, that's probably the way to do it.
Okay.
You know, like, it's the thing, you know, like, I think NEPQ is the best sales system on the planet, and I think it's hard to argue otherwise. But, like, there's a time and a place. And if you're, like, brand new and you just fucking, you know, you don't have the money for a course or whatever, then yes, try and adapt some of it as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, probably going hard in the paint on people is probably going to be a pretty good outcome for you.
Okay.
In the short term.
Okay. But so fitness results, health and that kind of stuff, you reckon selling people with that would lead to a better
like
outcome?
the biggest online fitness program in Australia, potentially one of the world, is like the 4% Club, which is like Andrew Ghost and all them. Like I wrote all their scripts.
Okay.
So like I trained I trained Andrew Poulton for a year. So Poulton is the like Andrew G does all the marketing. They're both the business owners, and Andrew P controls all the sales, right? And then together they do delivery and all that kind of stuff, right? And they run the business. I trained AP every week for a year, and we rewrote those scripts and rewrote those scripts and rewrote those scripts, and they're still using those scripts.
Perfect.
And it's a highly specialized version of an NEPQ script. Like there are some things in there that are specific to the offer. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
But of course, like they've refined it, but it is an NEPQ script, and they're incredibly successful at it. And they're a legit 8-figure fitness business that's just B2C.
You're right.
That's it. Like they sign up 110 people a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fucking pretty impressive.
So the proof's there.
Yeah, the proof's there. So it definitely works. All their sales calls are booked up for 30 minutes. I think the average time is like 17 to 18. I could be wrong, but like last time I looked at that, it's about what it was. Really, really good.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
All right. I feel like that's the spot.
Yeah.
That's it, guys, for another episode. Hopefully, that answers a lot of the questions that are in the YouTube comments about fitness sales and marketing. But you got any more, let us know. That's it. Goodbye.
Bye. Put that coffee down.